Hello everybody, this is Josh Horak with Rock Laramie, and I'm here with my friends Adam and Mariana Snyder, and we wanted to take a few minutes and just brag on Jesus this morning, and they're going to share a little bit of a story and a testimony of kind of what God did in their lives, in their marriage, how He intervened, saved them as individuals, saved their family, and so we just really want everybody to hear this story and just really see how good God is. And so I'm gonna start with Adam here. Adam, why don't you kind of start a little bit just introducing kind of the story, what happened in the beginning, and then and Mariana, you can jump in here and just paint the picture of what was going on, kind of what happened at the start.
Well, at the start, we both just kind of had normal lives working, and I've been for a long time since high school. I was addicted to marijuana, drinking, and those were the two major parts. A few years ago, after my father passed away, I dedicated a lot of my time to take care of him, and I felt like God took him from me. And after that, I started doing heavier drugs. I started doing pills, a lot of opioids, and a lot of heroin and opium, a lot of stuff. And it just gradually got worse over the years. I kept it from everybody. I hid it from everybody, and I did that for about a total of 7 years. And after so long, we had a lot of money in our bank account. We saved up a lot of money throughout the years, and I wiped our bank account clean. Spending about $7,000 to $8,000 on pills in a matter of 3 months, and that's how bad the addiction got. And every day, that's how I would start my morning. Every night, every minute of the day, I had to be high, and it was just getting to the point. And my wife. When God started kind of intervene was when my wife found out what I was doing. When I found out that I was doing a lot of pills, I kept it from her for a couple of years, and so.
Well, I had no idea how bad it was. I always knew that he liked to party and. But after we had our first baby, I thought, no, it's getting better, he's not going out with his friends so much, and, I just thought he liked to have fun. I never thought it was that bad. Mm-hmm. And we went to Tribe Conference 2.5 years ago, that summer, and I think God started right then. God told me we would be moving, and I had no idea where or when. So my mom came after that, and we took her back to the airport, and Adam went to grab his keys, and a pill fell off his pocket, and that's how I found out.
Okay. Because
I Googled that number, and I asked him what that was. He lied to me, and that's how the bombs exploded at that time, and it was just a matter of finding out lies and credit card bills that was hidden, and why we are short on money, what was going on, and God just really started bringing up the truth and putting light into our lives. And at the time it did feel like my world was falling apart, because I thought I had everything so put together. We had just bought our house, and we had 2 kids, and things. I found this out, and I was like, great, now I'm gonna lose my family and my husband. It's over. What am I gonna do? You know, it's a drug problem and it's bad. Like I took him out of the bank account, but he started selling everything valuable that he had, like his guns, his knife collection, and it was bad. Like he hit rock bottom. I had to put him out of the house, and you know, and I praise Jesus and I thank him every day, because at that time we had our home church that really supported us and walked with us to this hard path. And it's like thinking back and looking back, it's, I don't know how I did it, how we did it. It's
right.
It's just through God's grace, and having the church and having the church as a family that supported us, were there for us. And
so can you guys unpack that a little bit? So the addiction came to the light, and the Lord really, you would say that was God's grace.
Yes.
It was the Lord exposing and saying, son, I love you, and I'm not going to allow this to go on anymore. And but it also felt like your world was falling apart, because it was,
yes,
you know, in many ways. And so if you wouldn't mind, tell a little bit what happened. So it was exposed, and then you went to rehab, but then Mariana, maybe share a little bit too, like how you were here and how the body of Christ really just surrounded you, kind of things they did to support the whole family, and maybe even paint a little bit of the picture of, you know, kids, pregnant, just so people are understanding a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah. No problem. So after everything came to light and it was really bad, I got to the point I had to put Adam out of the house, and I was totally hopeless, you know. And I had nowhere to go. I had nowhere to cry out. The only option was my home church and Jesus, and that's what I did. I was like, Lord, for the past 5 years, you know, I thought I could do this all by myself. You know, I worked so hard to buy this house. I'm pregnant with my third son, and it's the only pregnancy we actually planned. We really wanted to have this baby, and here I am, like, pregnant. I have all of these, and it's all empty. You know, it's all fake. You know, our family's falling apart, and I need you. And I had to surrender to Jesus, and, you know, my home church too helped me a lot. They prayed with me, and I put Adam out of the house, and I told him, Adam, the only chance, if you want to be with us, the only chance you have is to find a place and seek help. If you don't go through a rehab, you're not going to be together. You're not going to see your kids. It's not going to work. So we started looking at places. We went up to Casper. We made a lot of phone calls.
She started looking up places. I refused to. I went about my day finding any kind of drugs I possibly could, even without spending money and not having any money to spend. I still continued in what I did. And Mariana was the one that literally like seeked out places, like did research, like tried to understand where I should go, what I should do, and I did nothing. And it was a hard time, because that's when my so-called fun life was about to end. And you know, we always paint this picture of having it to be so fun and so have such a good time and to let everything loose, but you know, and that's not what God wants for us.
Right.
It's not anything. So, but after looking at places, we drove all the way to Casper to look at some rehab places, and nobody's like, well, we couldn't take you in for, you know, another month or so. We couldn't, you know, and we do this, we do that, and it just didn't seem like any of it would really work. And like,
didn't feel right.
God just made it so Mariana didn't feel like it was the right place.
So my cousin, I have a cousin in Florida, he's our pastor there, and he called me and he said, why don't you consider the possibility of Adam coming to Teen Challenge here in Fort Myers? And I was like, no, it's too far. When we move there, I want him to be done with these and, you know, all this problem, be clean and all this solved. I don't want to move to Florida and, you know, have this going on. And then after looking at all the places, I was like, well, I'm going to give him a call. So I did. I called Teen Challenge, and now he's our good friend, Nick Ayler, answered the phone, talked to me, gave me his testimony. And I felt it in my heart. God told me that's where I want Adam to go. And then after all of that, he's like, well, but the program is a year long. And I was like, a year long? But I'm 4 months pregnant. Like, how does that gonna work?
Right.
You know,
Right.
I need my husband. And he was like, well, it's a year long. We have 86% of success here, and it's Jesus based. You know, we don't
faith-based, yeah.
help them with more meds or anything like that. It's all about God, and he's my testimony. And I was really impacted by his testimony, and I was like, well, there is hope, you know, and the hope is in Jesus, is in God. So, and then we made that decision. It's Teen Challenge, but we needed the money. You know, it was, I think, about $2,000 for him to get admitted there, to have a bed, to get started in a program, the plane tickets, everything. So here comes another problem, because Adam had used all the money we had. And how are we going to send Adam to Florida to go to Teen Challenge? So I called my sister-in-law, I called April, and I told them I was crying. I was like, I don't know how this is going to happen. We prayed, and in like 4 hours, we had the money for him to go to Teen Challenge. In 4 hours. So in 4 hours, we had the money. I was like, wow, God, this is real. Like, you really picking us up. You really like holding us.
Yeah.
So we bought the tickets. It was hard for my husband to make it there.
I missed about 2 or 3 flights going to Florida.
Just sitting in the airport, just scared of getting in the plane. And
I didn't want to get on the plane. I was crying. I was so scared at the airport. I would just sit at a table and just bawl my eyes out and like not wanting to go. Like the devil was trying to fight what God had in store for us.
Yeah.
And it was so close. I finally called my wife. She's like, why aren't you on the airplane? Like, why are you still at the airport? I was like, well, I missed the flight. And she's like, what? Like, what are you thinking? Like, that was like your only flight there. And so she's like, well, you better go talk to the attendant and see what you can do. And so I was like, you know, trying to argue, like, you know, like, I'll do this, I don't have to go, you know, I don't really need this, you know, this won't work out good for us, and, you know, and she was, you know, fighting it, saying, no, you have to go if you want to be with us, and if you want to fix your life, you have to go. And so I missed the second flight that they had for me. And the third one, I finally got on the airplane and made it there. And it was really hard getting there. Once I got there, I stayed with her cousin for the weekend before the Monday before I was going in to Teen Challenge. And you know, my addiction was still at its worst. And it was still really hard for me. I was withdrawing really bad, you know, feeling sick, throwing up, not feeling good at all. And so when I got to her cousin's house, you know, I was still so desperate. When I would walk into anybody's house during my addiction, the first thing I would think about is, oh, what could these people possibly have in their medicine cabinet?
Right.
And you know, and so, but at her cousin's house, I got so desperate, I waited for his whole family to fall asleep, and then I searched his whole medicine cabinet, and I found what I was looking for. I found, oxycodone, and I was desperate, and I took the whole bottle throughout the whole weekend. In a matter of 2 days, I took probably about 30 or 40 pills, and getting ready for Teen Challenge. That's what I was telling myself. And so, but then the Monday came for me to go, and I, started fighting it again. I was smoking, and I couldn't stop chain smoking. I was so nervous, and I don't know, it was just a scary moment in my life that I was like, man, am I really going to change, or what's going to happen through this program? And I didn't know. But so after that, I finally got in the program. Nick Ayler was the one who helped me get in. The first thing I did was I bawled my eyes out on his shoulder. I didn't even walk in the building, nothing. I just cried for about 15 minutes. And then they kind of helped me along and got me started. And the first few days I just slept. I just literally passed out in my room, and I didn't get up to eat, didn't get up for anything. I was just crying, sleeping, and going to the bathroom. That's it. I'd go straight back to bed, nothing else. And that was for about the first 3 or 4 days. I just was so depressed. I was so low. I was so at rock bottom, and I didn't want to fix it. My body and my mind was trying to fight getting fixed by Jesus. And it took so much for me to get out of bed and to finally go eat and to finally start doing the program.
Right.
And it was a hard process. And God finally softened my heart to where I could really realize what and how I was dealing with my family, and how much I did wrong with my family, how many things I messed up, how much I destroyed my family, my friends, all my relationships. I destroyed them down to a dust. I would use people. I would use their money. I would try everything to get what I needed. I was so selfish. And I finally realized that in Teen Challenge, and the program, the process of the program really worked. And it's nothing with the counselors, it's nothing with the staff that has anything to do with it. It's all about Jesus. They just guide you to the cross, and His blood sheds down on you, and it changes lives. It changed my life, and it changed my family's life. It changed my son's lives. It changed my wife's life. And it changed my friend's life. It really was just a blowout by God. It was just Him doing what needed to be done, and as you would call, tough love. And God loves to show it that way, and because that's how a lot of people learn.
It's awesome.
So yeah, we sent Adam, he went.
Wow.
And I was here with 2 kids and pregnant, and now how am I gonna get to Florida by myself with my 2 kids and my cat and my baby, my belly? So that was another process too, and that's when the church really embraced us and took care of us, when my husband was gone, when we had nobody to count on, So start praying about it, and they always supporting us, and in order to move to Florida we needed a lot of money, because I needed to pack my stuff and send it all the way to Florida. I needed plane tickets and all of that, and I was like, Lord, I don't know how that's gonna happen, but you're gonna send us, if it's your plan, you send Adam, and I told you that if he was going, we were going with him. So one day I was at my brother's house and I got a call in the morning. Josh called me in the morning, and he felt in his heart, God put it in his heart to ask for a special offering for our family, to help us out to get to Florida and help with our needs at that time. And I was like, okay, no problem. And that same morning, the night before, I had a dream that Adam would be coming back and a year later or so to share his testimony. But at that moment, I didn't think much about it. I was like, really? My husband just went into rehab. What is this dream, God? But anyways, it was a good dream, It was like, brought hope into my heart. And so we went to church that morning, and Josh called me up front and shared a little bit what I was going through, and asked people for the offering, and people came up and they passed the bucket, and I didn't think much of it. I was like grateful, but
Was it hard for you?
yeah, it was hard for me, but
Was it embarrassing?
yes, it was embarrassing, was humiliating, but was the light of Jesus at that time. And you just, after a certain point, after you pour yourself out in the feet of Jesus, you don't even care.
Amen.
Anymore, because it's not about yourself or your feelings. It's about what God's doing. And so yeah, I didn't think much and went home. So Josh called me, I don't know if it was you or Andrew, called me and said, oh, we want to bring the offer over, can we come to your house on Wednesday? I was like, sure, no problem. So they came over, we had coffee and everything, and when they told me how much people had given, I was like, no, wait a second, this is not real. And I was in need of about $5,000 because I had to take my car down to Florida. I had to take all my furniture, like the moving company expenses, the tickets to get me and my kids there. So that's how much I needed, and I got that much plus more. And when they told me how much it was, I was like, is this a TV show? Are you guys, what's going on here? This is not for me. This is not real. I was like shocked. I couldn't believe. And they were like, no, this is, for you and to help to send you down there. People have given, and that's God's plan, I guess. That's what God really wants you to do, and so we're sending you there, and here's the money. And I was like, so I called Teen Challenge. I talked to Nick Kaler, and I told him, tell Adam that this just happened, because I want him to be encouraged. Like, tell him that God is taking care of us. He's in every step of the way. We are not alone. Like, he's providing. And so we packed up everything. Home church came and packed up my whole house. I couldn't do much because I was 4 to 5 months pregnant, and I didn't have to. I just had to direct people, do this, do that, and everybody packed it for me. The moving company came, put everything in the truck, and off we went. And we had enough money to be there for a couple of months, and it was just God really taking care of us and providing. And Adam stayed in the program for about 4.5 months. He got baptized in Teen Challenge. We forgot to share that the other night when.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, dude.
And it was actually my first time, I believe, ever being baptized.
So he got baptized in Teen Challenge, and he found in his heart that it was time for him to come out of the program. I was about to have Samuel. I was 9 months pregnant at the time, and he packed up his stuff and left the program, and it was a hard decision too.
It was.
because once you leave the program, you cannot come back. You have to wait 30 days to come back.
And then they give you a choice on whether or not you want to re-enter.
And you have to start all over. So all those 4 months would not count. So it was a really hard decision. I was a little disappointed at the time because I wanted him to finish, even though I had no idea how things were going to work out for that year. But he told me that was God put it in his heart and he had to come. And I prayed so hard. I was like, God, just, we started this in our lives. You're going to finish. I have faith. And, and he came out. And a week later, he went back to get his stuff, his documents and stuff that was all there. Because he just got a trash bag, threw a few stuff in there and walked home.
Right.
So when he went back a week later, he got to talk to the pastors there. And to say he's sorry and explain, and it was so good because they kind of released him in peace. They prayed over him, and it was the confirmation I needed at that time.
Right.
Because I was very worried, because I wasn't sure. Like, God spoke to him, but didn't speak clearly to me that was the time for him to come out. I was kind of confused, and so them releasing him and praying over him, and they came to me and they said, he's gonna be fine. God's gonna finish this work that he started in his life.
Praise his name.
And he's gonna be fine, and so it was great. Like, he really confirmed that it was the time for him to come out, and I was glad because he didn't miss the birth of his son, and he was there to support me, and he didn't miss that. So it was really God's plan.
Amen.
So you finished. Well, you were obedient.
I was obedient. And
go ahead.
one of the biggest things that, I'm glad you said obedience, because one of the biggest things that I was battling at the end when I was asking God if I should leave or not, he asked me to obey him. God asked me to obey him, and he told me that his obeying God is more important than finishing the program at the time. And I honestly, I wasn't comfortable leaving. I didn't know for sure if I should have left when I did, but God kept telling me every day for about a week, because I would go on fasting weeks. Like, for weeks at a time I would fast and not eat a thing. Like, that's how much I needed to hear from God, and I was begging for it. And every day he would tell me, obey me. You'll be fine. You don't have to finish the program. It is not about finishing the program. It is about obeying me and being obedient. And finally, I had the courage enough to grab my things and go. I couldn't talk to anybody. The program's very serious when somebody leaves. And you're not allowed to talk to anybody.
You're not allowed to come around the campus then.
You're not allowed to explain to anybody, like your friends or whatever you made there. Like, you just grab your things and you go. And they'll give you a ride. If you're not from town, they'll give you a ride to the bus stop or the plane or the airport. And so you kind of have your pick. And I was like, well, I'll walk. Florida is very nice. Didn't get cold. So
it's not Larry.
Yeah. So I filled up a ginormous 33-gallon trash bag full of my stuff, and I walked away. And but the confirmation afterwards, the week after, with the pastors, that was the clarity that I needed to hear and see from God about leaving the program. And it really did the finishing touch. It put the cherry on top of what God asking me to do. And, contemplating if what I did was right, or if what I did was the right choice, or would I, turn back to drugs so soon after, getting out so fast. But it wasn't it wasn't the deal. It wasn't what God had in store. God, had bigger plans, and God told me, He said, it's time for you to take care of your family. It's time for you to step up and be the priest of your household. It's time that you grow and you follow me and you do not walk in any other path. And so that's how we ended up outside of Teen Challenge.
So he came out of Teen Challenge and then struggled for a while to try and find jobs and work all kinds of stuff like granite, flooring, construction, pizza place, and all kinds of stuff, trying to provide for us because, my family was helping us at the time and
Right.
that was not feeling right anymore since he was back. And so he ended up at Walmart. Didn't really like it, had a hard time there, and that was the last drop in the cup. He was like, I'm done with this, I'm gonna go back to school. And Adam always had this dream about becoming a firefighter. He tried EMT school here in Laramie, but of course he was in so much drugs he didn't pass.
Yeah.
He had a. You dropped out, or they?
I dropped out.
They did. They took you out because
Yeah.
you didn't.
They kicked me out at midterm.
Yeah, at midterm. So after struggling there with jobs and stuff, he's like, I'm going back. I'm gonna do my EMT course again. So I told him, okay, that's a great idea. So I'm gonna find a job and you're gonna go to school. So that's what happened. I found a job as a dental assistant and I worked for 7 months while he was going to school and taking care of the boys full time. And so he finished his EMT, got a job, and then God started putting in my heart a little before he finished. That was time for me to stay home, and I never thought of myself about being home with my kids.
Stay home,
I never wanted it, and I didn't think I was capable to, but God started putting in my heart and burning, and I was like, come on, God, don't do that to me, please. You're pushing me. I have been through so much. Have you work? And he's like, no. And since since I don't went to the Teen Challenge, I always wanted God to really change my marriage and my relationship, because I was always the one like making most of the money and leading and making all the decisions, and Adam was always like laid back. It's like, whatever, just take me and I'll do whatever. Just tell me what to do. And I didn't want it to be that way, because he's supposed to lead us, to be the leader of our family. So I always prayed about that, and then he came out, I had to go to work. I was like, great, it's gonna be the same thing as it was before, But and then God called me to stay home, and he got a job right away, right off school.
Right out of school,
Yeah.
the last day of class.
He was
They
already
hired you the last day of class?
Yeah.
Wow.
They said, come fill out an application and we'll give you a job. It was that easy.
And God said, your husband has a job, you're gonna stay home. And since I made that decision, I'm also in obedience. I mean, I don't enjoy 100% of the times. There's days that are better than others, and I'm learning. But our relationship is so different because now he's the provider, he's the leader. I don't make any decisions without talking to him, and he doesn't make any decisions without talking to me. And it's so much better. It brought so much peace and confidence to him, and he's more secured, and it's just changed.
It's God's
And I was
grace.
like, we're finally getting in the point where we just have like regular marriage problems. We don't have these monsters anymore, we're not perfect, and I don't want people to look at us and say, oh look, they're so perfect. No, we still struggle a lot.
Still
We're trying to
far from it.
regain trust, and we're working on that, but
Just last
God
month.
is so amazing. It's like, I was like, God, you really turned this around. Like, you really did. And myself, I even try to go like behind the scenes and try to find like part-time jobs, without even telling him. I would look at stuff, I would call people, I would go to interviews, and then at the end, door shut on me. And God was like, daughter, just be content. This is gonna be good. I was like, okay, God, I won't try anymore. I promise.
I'll quit taking it in my own hands.
Yes. So it's amazing.
Yes, it was.
So we're gonna be married for 7 years in January. People always say, "Oh, the 7 is a big number. It's a big crisis," and I was like, "No, not for me. 7 is the number of perfection in the Bible. I have been marching around these walls for 7 years, and now they're gonna fall."
Amen.
Come on.
Glory to God.
Time for joy and freedom, and we're gonna enjoy, and we're gonna have the best year ever.
Amen.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think let's see, last week, you know, that dream you had when I called you that morning, it was it 1 year ago, like that?
Yeah, in my dream, he would come back a year later, but we came back exactly 2 years later.
2 years, okay.
And it's the first time that we are sharing our testimony.
Right.
So this is so awesome because God provided this time for us to come here to share the testimony. The first time sharing our testimony with the church that sent us to Florida and Teen Challenge and supported us. So I'm really grateful. It's good to have a new start here, you know,
Right.
because I feel it. I don't know if Adam has this feeling, but I feel it in my heart that this is gonna be a new season because God didn't save my husband, me, and my family just for the sake of ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, He saved us to represent Him, and we started here, you know, sharing what He did.
Yep.
Yeah, and both of us have been feeling on our hearts that it's that we need to share our testimony, because even for a while after I got out of Teen Challenge and she was working, like, you know, we were just going about our day as a normal life, like, you know, and so, but we both had convictions on our heart that we needed to share. We needed to
We can't keep it to ourselves. Would be so selfish of us,
Yeah.
you know.
And so God just put it on both of our hearts that we had to, if it was giving hope to other people, if it was, you know, bringing them to Jesus, whatever. But we both had a really conviction on our heart that God had so much more in store for us than just being saved and now our family's safe
Right.
and sound and that's it, you know. Oh, I'll go on to the next person. No, God's like, now you guys need to explode and you need to share my love.
Right.
So we do have a church in Florida. It's a small church that started a couple of years ago. We have a small group at our home. It's like a home church.
Uh-huh.
We have 15 couples, a lot of kids. Our group is multiplying.
It started off with like 4 to 6 people too. So.
Yeah. So
Wow.
God is doing amazing things there too, and so we just wanna be an instrument.
Amen.
Come on.
Open our house. Our house is always open. So
Yes, it is.
we host it. So
Amen.
Adam's starting paramedic school.
I am.
It's gonna be tough, but
So.
But that's a dream now coming true for you.
yeah.
It is. And I'm right now God's clarifying with me about you know, the timing of going to school and the timing of you know, what I need to be doing to make sure that you know, I'm taking care of what God wants me to take care of before I follow my own path and because His will is more important than any of my ways. And you know, and it's hard because a lot of times you second guess yourself on, you know, what God really wants you to do. And, you know, but it's a cry out for Jesus, really. And you just have to follow it.
That's awesome.
So, anything else?
No, this is great, guys. We're so proud of you. Just go God. It's so
Amen.
good. I mean, who would have thought we'd be sitting here 2 years now
2
from, you know, when we were
later.
at your house and
Wow.
packing boxes and,
Yeah.
you know,
And it's good that God brought us here because I had a lot of I had a hard time making the decision to come to Laramie. I had bad memories, and you know. So I just, before we came, I just prayed for healing, and I asked God to, you know, give us start building new memories, because the boys love here, you know. They're so proud about their Wyoming. And it's like, God, just work in my heart, just bring healing. So when I go to Laramie, I have a new view about the whole situation. And that's what He's doing. I think by sharing our testimony, it brings healing, and, you know, it's so joyful to be here and see our friends, and people were so welcoming, and they were like, wow, God, you guys are great, and we are like, no, we are not great, God is. You know?
I love it. Yeah, one of my favorite verses is God takes everything and makes it beautiful in time.
I love that too.
And just the nature of the cross is doomed for destruction.
Yeah.
But He turned it for His glory, and now we're sitting here, and it's just all for His glory.
All for His glory.
All for His glory, you know. He's that good, He's that powerful. He's that wonderful. And so, thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your church. Thank you for everything you guys did for us. Everything that God asked you guys to do, and you were obedient. And I can only say thank you and praise His name for you. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's awesome. All right.
Yeah.